All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to wherever it is in the world you are streaming. Gosh, so many different platforms, so little time. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, where I will be taking comments here for the next. Okay, I got all my devices up now, so I can see the comments across the board. What's happening, people? Wherever it is you are streaming in the world. I'm back. I'm back in Los Angeles for Monday's Q&A Safe Space with WAB presented by ProfitX. As we are waiting, by the way, so this is going to be one of those shows where it could get a little dicey. So we just got the news before we go live, and I welcome people into the chat. Just got news that Anthony Davis returning to the lineup tonight. Not just returning, but is going to be on a minutes restriction of 28 minutes, which is a pretty significant chunk of change. And trying to figure out exactly what to do regarding that game. I'm already in on some unders here, but the big play was for me today was PJ Washington. I'm on ProfitX, by the way. I'm just for the sake of 16.5 is quite light. Quite light. For someone that's going to be playing 28 minutes against those Brooklyn Nets. So just for the sake of, we're going to take it over here just to show you how this works in case you've never been to ProfitX before. But we are waiting on big news from Indianapolis with Anthony Edwards tonight. Has a laceration on his hand, I believe, and he is a true game time decision. They are back for that rematch against the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis. We know how that game recently ended with the Obi Toppin Hail Mary from the corner in overtime. And tonight they get to run it back. But if Anthony Edwards is out of the lineup, that will obviously be major news, which is going to have us scrambling here. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. And I really don't want to miss it. So I got my phone up and I'm hoping that it's pushing through alerts because it hasn't. I'm just going to double check to make sure that it is. Okay. I'll double check. But if it starts spamming the chat, if Anthony Edwards is out tonight. What's up, chat? Talk to me, chat. What's good? I'm here. Hold on one second. Okay. Now I can see it. What's up, chat? Oh, God. Really? The Knicks? That's what you guys want to talk about? Of all things you could have asked Wop, perhaps about his vacation in San Diego. I would much prefer to talk about the Severance finale than I would the Knicks. Don't you guys get enough Knicks content for me? Why do you want to come in here and ask about the Knicks? All I do on the account is talk Knicks for 3 hours a day and in every post-game video. I can't tell you anything that I haven't already said. Sorry to disappoint you. I did watch the Severance finale. I don't necessarily want to spoil it, but it was good content. It was good content. I enjoyed it. I thought the season was going to go a little off the rails there. But there was a method to their madness. It was some of those episodes didn't need to be as long. They seemed ridiculous until you figured out why they were actually going through some of those character definitions and why they are the way that they are. Some shows like Lost have done that in the past, but it all came full circle, which is ultimately all I care about. What else? Yeah. We kind of use this show to be an escape from real stuff going on in the world. Wait a second. My bet wasn't matched. Hold on one second. Look at this. I gotta find. Can someone match my liquidity, please? Look at this. Oh, okay. I got alerts coming through. Yves Missi is a game time decision for New Orleans. How about that game tonight, y'all? You want to talk about one of the worst games that I've ever seen on an NBA floor. So it's going to be Gershon, no Grimes. The entire Sixers team is out, including Grimes. With New Orleans, Zion is out. CJ's out. Trey Murphy's obviously out. DeJounte too. So it's going to be Jordan Hawkins, Jose Alvarado, and Kelly Olynyk against Gershon Yabusele, Justin Edwards, Jared Butler. Oh my God. That's going to be as special of a game as we have seen in quite some time. But needless to say, I am on Philadelphia plus 5.5. I think the line is down to 4, but I just beat the news when it came out. The problem is the news of Quentin Grimes came out after the New Orleans news, so I'm kind of stuck holding the bag a little bit, but I did hedge some of my res golf. So shout out to ProfitX for let's see what they have here. They have down to 3.5. Philly plus 3.5. Yves Missi, game time decision there. The biggest name left on the board. That's crazy. I mean, have y'all been seeing what he's doing? Or not him. Have you? So the Utah Jazz, we know, got fined for the player participation policy violation. And they respond by, first of all, continuing to bench guys, but then they do the illness plus actual injury. So with Jordan Clarkson, it's always been illness plus foot or illness plus ankle for Markkanen. So if you don't think he's sick, then he's got an ankle injury and a foot injury. You can't prove both of them wrong. So what they've been doing now is when Walker Kessler plays, he attempted 6 or 7 3-pointers for the entire season. He's going out there and averaging between like 6 and 8 a game right now. They're having him work on this skill during actual NBA games. You can't get mad at us for tanking. Walker Kessler's playing. You didn't say how we're allowed to use him. And since they're maybe trying to experiment if he can be a stretch 5 or not, watching him go out there and lay 7 bricks a night from 30 feet away has been one of the funniest storylines as the Utah Jazz continue to reinvent ways to lose games on purpose. Do I like White Lotus? The show, the first 2 seasons, I'm not caught up on season 3 yet because legacy television is dead. Monoculture is dead. People do not watch shows with appointment television anymore. I'd probably say Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad were probably the last 2 of those. There's no more shows on TV with times. It's all released on streaming. So people just watch at their own convenience. So it's really hard to discuss television shows because nobody's watching all at the same time. Bucks versus Suns tonight. Oh, God. Yo, that Bucks team, man. Oh, my Lord. What's the line on this game? Who do they have? They have Phoenix favored? Is Dame out? Dame must be out. He's got to be out. Phoenix should be favored against nobody. I know they've won some games recently, but oh, my God. This is just two teams that have an overwhelming star power that just is completely useless because they do nothing else. Those teams do nothing else. That game on Saturday night. Hold on one second. That game here's the shout out to ProfitX, by the way. 3. I have no desire to touch this one. So Milwaukee against Golden State. They have a 4-minute drought that they don't score a single point. And you're watching Draymond navigate these high ball screens that he's able to stay with Giannis. They're not even switching. Jimmy Butler's coming over to help. And then Giannis is having to try and put his shoulder through and drive down and ends up deferring to the corner. They've building the wall against the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's just been unable to finish. And part of the reason why his mid-range game has had to get so much better so quickly, it's the only option that he's been given. That's not a 3-point shot. And then against Sacramento, they won that game, but you watch the final 4 minutes of that one too. And if it wasn't for Giannis So the one bucket they made in the final 4 minutes was the result of Giannis on an ATO. He drives, he essentially scraps the play. He sees an opening and he goes straight to the rim, but he's met by Keegan Murray. It's rejected, and the ball fortunately falls into his lap as he is falling over, and then he shovels it to Gary Trent Jr. in the corner, who drills a three. So even then, the one bucket that they got was Giannis creating his own luck and watching this team struggle down this. They can't score to save their ass, man. In the finals, the clutch time, the final 5 minutes where the score differential is 5 points or less, they struggle so mightily. And you would figure, because when you have Giannis, who in defense is having to build a wall against, and Damian Lillard, who's stretching the floor, Brooke Lopez, who stretches the floor too, that the corners should be wide open. Torian Prince is what, 44.5% from beyond the arc. How does this team never, ever get an open look when on paper it should be easy? There's nothing you can do to convince me that Milwaukee can make the second round of the playoffs right now. That's open to change as always, but my God, man, it is saying something when you are 3-point underdogs against Phoenix. What else you guys got? Should the league penalize tanking by taking draft compensation with tampering? No, what we need is relegation somehow. We need relegation. It's the only thing that's going to solve it. There's no fine with the valuation. The Boston Celtics just sold for $6.1 billion. You find these teams $100K, that is less than a drop in the bucket. That's a tier. That's a tier in a bucket. They fined the Dallas Mavericks for conduct detrimental to the league. $750,000. And guess what that did? Nothing. All these teams are continuing to do what we're seeing in New Orleans tonight. And it's the right play. Look at what the Utah Jazz are creatively finding ways to send all of these different lineups out there in which they're not at their optimal form. Fining will do nothing. You know why fining will do nothing? Because if it gets you Cooper Flagg, you'll make all that money back in jersey sales within a week. If it gets you Derek Lively the second, like it did with Dallas that one season when they got fined, Derek Lively the second was the reason why I think they got through the Oklahoma City Thunder and turned into one of the best front lines in the NBA when they were healthy. So tanking for them was essential. These teams with the protections, the Philadelphia has their pick top 6 protector. There's a reason why Quentin Grimes is out tonight. They would love nothing more than to continue to feature Quentin Grimes and have him evolve and develop and be a part of this team's future as he's headed to restricted free agency. But they also want to keep their pick. This is tanking season in the NBA right now. Just part of the business, and they can flatten the odds as much as they want. The teams don't care as much about the flattened odds as they do the protections on their picks. So maybe we need to find a way to scrap protections, because it's sure a lot of these teams do lottery protections and they realize, oh man, we're not winning the championship. Let's just tank the rest of the season. Welcome to the NBA. The only way to truly solve that is relegation. $100,000 is a couple of toilets for bombers, says Rod Burgundy in the chat. Yeah, one of those bathrooms he created at the Intuit Dome is that's how much it costs. $100,000. Talking about one of the richest people on the planet. Isn't he richer than Bill Gates now? He might be. Is there the best way to eliminate tanking by making it purely even lottery for non? No, it's just there's no way to solve it right now. There's just any solution is just so drastic. Relegation is the only proper solution, and it'll never happen. What are you going to do? Relegate the New York Knicks if they have a year where their starters get hurt, and then you lose one of your most important markets just to promote the Sioux Falls, whatever they are? Hell no. Hell no. That's never happening. That would be they would lose so much value. The broadcast partners would never, ever agree to that for the next. You can't even have the conversation about relegation for a decade while the broadcast rights have already been sold. That will never happen. It's the answer, but it'll never happen. When's the next Skywop? Well, go out there and commit a crime and get the cops to chase you. That's a good way to do it. You got to be in Los Angeles. Von Bismarck in the chat asks, have I seen Billy Betts yet? No. I don't. Billy Betts. Sorry. What happened to your YouTube channel? We're on ProfitX YouTube channel as we speak. What do you mean? Right here. Makes sense to bring it. Do you guys just want to talk hoops? All right. I offer myself open to various conversations because all I hear from the chat is the difficulty to access a Q&A with me. Is that really what you guys want to talk about this whole time that we have together? I mean, it's fine. But I don't want to hear any more complaints after this. I'm doing this 3 times a week. Q&A. You guys can ask anything. Anytime I do a Q&A on Twitter, you guys are asking a variety of questions. Why aren't you doing that in here now that I'm here live interacting with it? I don't get it. Do I still talk with poker? Anthony Official. Damn it. I had it loaded and everything. Anthony Edwards officially a go for tonight. I had the Pacers up. Let's watch what happens to this line. It was practically a PK. Yeah, you see, this makes no sense because the money line, hold on. The money line on ProfitX. Yeah, watch this bounce around now. Indiana -2. Yet they're underdogs here on the money line. That makes no sense. But Minnesota's going to be out for blood. So I will obviously, if you're just going to give me, let's see, hold on. Throw $15 on Minnesota here. Hold on. Be out for some revenge. They got Ant-Man. That line's probably going to close PK, so you get some 2 free points here on ProfitX. Best in the market. What do you mean unmatched? Somebody go match it. Take the Pacers -2. I dare you. Why are you offering me +2? There's some liquidity for you. Okay, back to the questions. The Wolves are starting Conley, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. Von Bismarck says it's the first AI agent autonomously betting. I know nothing about that. I'm sorry. Did Bam Bam and I tear up the city the other night? We most certainly did not. Bam Bam had some stomach issues, and we sat here and watched basketball for 6 hours. That's what happens when you near 40. Was that a Friday? No, that wasn't. That was a Wednesday. I went to San Diego the next day. That's why. San Diego was quite fun. The zoo is a fantastic place. If you go to San Diego, you got to go to the zoo. For the pandas, there's only 2 venues with pandas in the United States. The Smithsonian in DC and San Diego. They have the pandas because it's part of panda diplomacy. And the pandas, they sleep 16 hours a day. So they're not very entertaining, but they're just surrounded with bamboo around their feet. But the San Diego Zoo has everything. Tiger, leopard, jaguar, cheetah. The cheetah was so badass. Polar bears, elephants, rhinoceros, giraffes, which you can feed. Their tongues are like this long. What else? Koalas, baboons. There's a huge baboon field. Oh my God. I had a good time, as you can tell. All Strong says, first time dialing in from Brisbane, Australia. So excuse me for sending some hoops questions. That's okay. You're welcome to ask whatever you want, but I talk hoops all day, all day. If something pops on like Anthony Edwards was out, we can turn that into a conversation immediately. The problem is he was just ruled in. So my plan to blast off on the Pacers at PK unfortunately has failed. But there is some revenge narrative going on there with the Wolves, who had that win stolen from them in Minneapolis this time last week, and they're out for some payback. So I took some Minnesota +2 if anyone wants to match it on ProfitX. Again, it's a peer-to-peer exchange, so if you need some liquidity in the market, make sure you use them. Any chance the Luka trade? Why is Anthony Davis back? Didn't they learn their lesson the first time? Did they not learn their lesson with bringing him back too early? Now he's going to be on the minutes restriction this time, but what is the point? Do you guys really want to get the 10 seed that badly? Then you have to win back-to-back games. You have no Kyrie. I don't know, maybe Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively's second comeback. Like, you're never winning a single game against Oklahoma City. You will be swept. Are they trying to salvage something from this season? Are they trying to give Kyrie some reassurance that when he resigns, that he can see the vision and they'll just pick up where they left off? It just seems like an unnecessary risk for a guy that we've been told might need surgery on his adductor strain. That dude JQ says the San Diego Zoo is incredible. I'm going back in November. Yeah. So we only stopped for like 15 minutes just to sit down and eat a pretzel. It took us 5 hours to see the entire park. It's huge. There's so much to see and do. And all of those exhibits are like right next to each other. You don't have to get in a shuttle bus. You can walk to everywhere. And it was just such a perfect day. Like, all the animals were out. The cheetah just sits right there. It's got these it is so big, the cheetah. I was amazed by the cheetah. I do sound like the ideal candidate for a safari. I would love a safari. It's just so far away, but I feel like I was on a safari this weekend. So the Pacers are starting Halliburton, Nembhard. All right, nothing crazy there. How would you get into sports media analysis with no degree writing background experience? What I usually tell everyone that is an aspiring content creator is, first of all, you need to become fluid in every type of language, which means producing, editing, on camera, on audio only, microphone, and writing. You should learn how to write first and foremost. So no one reads blogs anymore, but just start a blog and create some content. So if your time ever comes, you will have a portfolio to show someone, because you're going to be using your writing to write scripts, to write interview questions. My writing is essential to, like, when I do WAP investigations, or when I was creating as part of Buckets in the past, or some particular segments that I was creating. You need writing for it all. So you got to learn how to write and find your voice. And then you just need to be able to do everything. Everything. You can no longer be just on-camera talent. You better be a legacy on-camera talent. Otherwise, everyone else has all these skills that you don't. So learn Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Photoshop. I taught it all to myself, but you need to be able to do your own stuff. And if you're willing to commit to the grind, just remember there's always going to be someone sleeping in a parent's basement somewhere that's willing to do your job for half the price. And you're going to have to outwork them. I've sacrificed a lot of my life to working. But it was that commitment to the grind that afforded me the opportunity where I'm at today. Now I'm lazy, but I'm still here with you guys. DC says, I agree. Bringing back AD makes no sense. If anyone needs to sit, it's him. And he's going to play a pretty decent amount of time. 28 minutes is a minutes restriction, but that is not a little amount. 28 is a lot. Nick Claxton, I believe, is active tonight as well. Just what's the point, man? Do I have a pair of Sabrinas? Yes, I do. I went through the process of designing my own, and the entire shoe is ivory white. I got made fun of because you have to pay a premium to design your own shoe, but I don't have any ivory shoes, and I wanted an ivory shoe, so I paid a premium for it. And the Sabrinas look gorgeous, and they feel gorgeous. If you have big feet, probably not for you because it's a women's shoe, but so far so good. I see the jerseys on the wall. Do you have any signed jerseys? Yeah, all these are signed. So this one is John Wall, Washington Wizards. This one's Walt Clyde Frazier. I got him in New Orleans. Got him in New Orleans when I was working for the Hornets back in 2009. He was very gracious. Do I see Danny Ainge trading sex? Who knows? That's too far away. We can't be doing the whole who's going to get moved this summer. It's March. Got to be exhausted from those thoughts. Now, if your team's completely out of it, I understand. Like if you're a Jazz fan, that's all you have to look forward to. But let's focus on the draft first, and then you can move to. It's going to be dependent on where they pick in the draft. It could change their whole strategy going to free agency for all we know. Is there still no chance of Dyson winning Defensive Player of the Year? We talked about this for an hour today. It was a good convo. Antonio brought up some good points too. So this is going to come down to Draymond, Evan Mobley, and Dyson Daniels, I think. Draymond and Mobley are being booked as heavy favorites over Dyson Daniels. Like, listen, he had 5 more steals last night. He's the youngest player in NBA history to record 200 steals in a season. But the Hawks are under 500. The team is statistically better with Dyson off the floor defensively than they are with him on. That means nothing. But someone out there will use that against him. And it's just so difficult for backcourt guys to win this award. Like what it took Marcus Smart to win this award. I have not forgotten. And just how Draymond has been out there. This Warriors defense has been insane lately. And he is putting on masterclass after masterclass. What he did to Giannis, he is like Peyton Manning out there with audibles, and you can hear him through the broadcast. And he's just been so good defense. And him and Jimmy have this like basketball telepathy going on too. Do I play paddle? Why is everyone into paddle? What happened to just playing tennis? All these different variations. I play racquetball, but no. Tennis. No paddle. Wayne says, should player awards not have more definitive parameters? Well, I kind of like the subjectivity of it all, don't you? I'm going to be interested to see what the voters think. Are either of these teams playing tonight? No. Who's playing in this Laker game, by the way? Question about individual awards. So like MVP, what's your definition of valuable, most improved player? What's your subjective definition of improved? And I will be very interested to see how media members who aren't watching every dribble of every game because they're busy doing their jobs with their specific team, what's their rationale? What is their rationale when they have to submit their ballots? You know what the quiet part out loud is? Here, let me come full screen for this one just because I know. I'm not going to name names, but you guys know how many ballots are cast for these individual awards. It's something like it's 100, maybe more than 100. Most of these people will just Google someone's work and see who the candidates are. and then form their own opinions based off of that because they're not watching those other teams and other players. Not they probably should if they're going to have an award or have an award ballot, but they have families, they have jobs, and they have their own teams to pay attention to. And then they're asked to vote on national awards. So what they do is they Google, uh, they type in like NBA award predictions, and then someone reputable from a major network takes the time to like make the case as to why this person should win this award. And they set the entire narrative with that one article. That one article. Those are the only candidates that get considered because those people just don't know any different. Not everyone is watching every dribble of every game. Yeah, what is going on with these ex-player one-on-one? Like, I have no desire to watch Lance versus Michael Beasley. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. There is money tied up to player awards, though. Oh, there is. There is significant money that is attached to all NBA and individual accolades. If you win MVP, if you win Defensive Player of the Year, you become eligible for supermax contracts, and the shit matters so much. And the people casting the ballots probably couldn't name you the top 5 guys. Like, ask if there's 100 voters, how many of them could name the second team all rookie or all defense and give you legitimate justification for each? I don't think it's very many unless they take the time to research and read other people's work. Yeah, voter fatigue is real too because we all know Jokic is the best player in the world, but he's not going to win MVP this year. So, definition of valuables in regards to seasons, if it was called the best player in the world award, he would win it. Now, the answer isn't so like if media isn't the one voting on these, then who? Because you can't have active players. You can't have coaches. You can't have front office executives. They all have individual narratives. I think the answer is forming some exclusive club of former NBA players that are still watching and attracted to the product. Not the because the retired players have this reputation for being haters, but there's plenty of guys out there who are still very, very knowledgeable. I work with one every day. Like Antonio Daniels is putting in time. So when like for example, he was in Detroit for the Pelicans Pistons game, and because he's calling that game, there's games running concurrently that he's not able to watch in real time. But I know because we're talking about specific timestamps from these games. On the plane home, he will watch the condensed game through NBA League Pass. And he does that for all of the games. So he spends like an hour plus every single day catching up without the commercials and all the funny, League Pass stuff that happens during timeouts. But I know not everyone, nor close to it, is putting in that level of work. But there are guys, whether it's Antonio, John Wall's a good one too. Channing Frye is on NBA TV. He's extremely knowledgeable. There's got to be a coalition or a fraternity that the NBA could assemble and just turn into a version of a Supreme Court, if you will. Because they would probably be the most trustworthy opinions, and I don't think as influenced by the implications of their voting on like would they give it to a player because they went to the same university? Would he give it to a player because they're connected through an AAU team that like John Wall owns or something? There's certainly some conflicts of interest possible, but I don't think it's worse than what the current situation is now. Sam in the chat asks, in your opinion, Joker is the best two-way player in the world? I'm biased, but I think it's Shea. Best basketball player in the world would incorporate two-way. And yes, I think Jokic is the best two-way. I think by you putting two-way in quotes, you're looking for more of like a Giannis, someone that has as much impact defensively as they do on offense, or like a Kawhi Leonard type. But defense, unfortunately, is not as prioritized in today's game as offense is, based on the way that the rules are enforced. It's just much more difficult to have an impact defensively than it is offensively. What else you guys got? Got a couple more minutes here before lineups lock. So my only bet tonight, I've got the T-Wolves +2. I have every PJ Washington under the sun. And I'll even book some more action here with you guys. I have a little bit on the Philadelphia 76ers +5.5 because I bought off of it. Where's this game? The Dallas Mavericks and Brooklyn Nets points. PJ Washington is what? 19.5. And I can't even request under. We need some liquidity. Is anyone willing to take the over here? 20.5, 19.5 here. I'll just put it out there in the world, see if anyone bites. 15 at 100. Let's see if I can get somebody to match me on the market. Again, this is peer-to-peer exchange, so there has to be liquidity or someone has to match your bet. And then if you win, the 3% commission looks like it comes off the top. But, okay. I'm stacked on PJ Washington unders here. Probably drain the entire market of liquidity. Are the Clippers too old? They've been competitive the past couple of nights. And have you seen how many minutes Kawhi Leonard has been playing? At the 3 times a week, too, not just 1 time a week. He's really been revved up to what's going to be required in the playoffs, 35 to 40 minutes every night. And he was quite effective despite missing that shot last night. They were right there. So that might end up being a first-round series. OKC and the Clippers, that is not a walkover first-round opponent. The OKC will win that in 6 games. I think the Clippers can find a way to win 2 of those. Yeah, for sure. That'll really push them to the limit. And the wall. Don't forget about the wall. Why is today's game catered to offensive players? Offense sells. Offense sells. It's sexy. You want the highlights to go viral of dunks. Good defensive stance doesn't go viral the same way a John Morant or Zion Williamson tomahawk dunk does. This is a business. Arizona will upset Duke. That's my prediction. What's the spread on that game, by the way? Caleb Love will do it again. Oh my God, Duke is favored by 8.5. That's the one guy that Duke doesn't want to see after what he did to them 3 years ago. Julio says, I agree with you. Win Williams MVP, but for me, it is more important a guy can make his teammates, and Jokic is awesome in this category. I'm right there with you. I mean, if I had a vote, I would vote Shea, but I wouldn't be happy about it. I think Shea's earned it. But Jokic is my best player on the planet. That Shea cannot take away. Any other comments in the chat? Any other questions that you guys may have? You guys aren't nearly as lively at this hour as you usually are after games. Is it because of the time frame? Usually it's just pouring in here and people are drunk on curiosity in addition to some other substances, but it is quite quiet. Loud in the YouTube chat says, "Hey Wob, did we miss the Lakers segment?" Also, do you still drink from the chalice? That's my favorite ritual. I do still drink from the chalice. I'm a Laker season ticket holder. I now have Laker chalices, Laker robes, Laker coolers. I have a Laker table and a Laker lawn chair have been my various gifts that they send to season ticket holders. Now I have multiple tickets. So, of course, I'm always rooting for the Lakers, in addition to having the best owner in the league. Why do you speak as if I control police chases? Why do you come in here saying, where have all the police chases been? I don't know. Get the helicopters in the air. Get them to go find one. What are you coming to me for? I'm ready for when they finally start transmitting them. People haven't been committing as many crimes as usual. I got a question about the Buck spread. I know people are trying to figure out how to attack this terrible game. I think there's better spots than this one, to be completely frank. Let's see, NBA. Is it still 3? It is still 3. Phoenix has been hot. Milwaukee can't score down the stretch. Phoenix couldn't defend their own shadow. I mean, in a game like this, I would always just take the points out of principle, but I have no opinion on it. These teams just stink. What's up, coach? It's been a minute. Expansion, which season in cities? Vegas, Seattle seem logical, even though I would love to see Mexico City to expand internationally. Mexico City's been a good home to teams during the regular season. It's also like a super fun city now. And it's not too far. It's not a trip. Like if you did a London or a Paris, like those flights over there are just woof. I don't think it's going to happen for quite some time. I don't think we'll see expansion until 2020, I don't know, 2030. And LeBron wants that Vegas team. I don't think he's going to get it. There is that looming international league that keeps getting discussed too. I think that's going to be a major player in the near future. Do I ever think about going out in flames on a police chase, like the ending of Sons of Anarchy? in front of a fur missile, the same way that what's his face was on his motorcycle, just driving straight into the truck. Wizards Raptors, is that tonight too? Ugh. Why do we keep getting put through this? Pelicans Sixers, Jazz games are like every night. Wizards Raptors. Ugh. How do you people watch this without being compensated? At least there's Pacers Timberwolves on, Magic and Lakers. I am a Knicks fan, loud. Sorry, in the YouTube chat right now. I am, but I can be a Lakers fan and a Knicks fan. I don't know. Lakers fans think I hate the team because I like trolling their fan base, but it's just too easy. I enjoy it out of it being a hobby. Some people like to play with trains. Some people like to paint. I like to troll Laker fans. Will Tibbs get fired again, or get fired if the Knicks starters all get injured again in the playoffs? It might be one of those things that he moves up to the front office the same way that Brad Stevens did. I don't think he'll ever get fired from the organization. He's got history and he's got experience as a front office executive with the Timberwolves. So he could be president of basketball or he could be general manager. and then they go hire someone else. But we're going to find out because those boys are tired and they don't look like they're going to be winning a championship this year. More, the YouTube chat's picking up. Who are the Knicks going to flame out to in the playoffs this year? Second round, the Knicks will lose to the Celtics. Yeah. 5 or 6 games, they'll be on their way. And that's if they get through Detroit in the first round. I'm hoping the Knicks play the Bucks. That's my dream scenario. All right, people. Well, we have reached 4 p.m. here in Los Angeles on the West Coast. Lineups are about to lock. Tip-off is about to occur. I'm going to go try and make some more money doing this and bouncing around with live action here on ProfitX. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Be back on Wednesday. Maybe something will arise that you guys are interested in discussing. Until then, it's every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, by the way. Get used to that cadence. So this will be a regular thing, 3 to 3:15 Pacific, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can expect me, Q&A, you can ask me whatever you want. Whether I answer, it's up to me, but you can ask whatever you want, and I'll probably say it. So if that's what you're asking for, then if that's what you really wanted this whole time, I'm here. I'm made available. Deuces, guys. Adios.